You're the intro person anyways. I'm supposed to be the closer. Coffee's for closers.
Hello! We're talking about Ironman VR. Andy gives his review. We talked about the 3 pillars of stuck in a video game anime. And we also talked about virtual reality in general, because I don't know too much about it, actually.
We're going to figure it out together in this episode of Desk Pop. How's it going, Bryan?
It's going. How are you?
Doing okay. I'm still getting used to your backgrounds. It's like first person Iron Man view, so like he has you like in his in one arm, and then he has one hand out like to protect you. If you haven't pieced it together already, for my detectives out there, we're going to be talking about Iron Man a little later. Until then, welcome to Desk Pop. I feel really frazzly today.
I feel like there must be a word for it by now, like quarantine blues, or
Quarantine
just to
blues.
like to encapsulate like how we're all feeling, like trying to be responsible, like stuck at home, but then also feeling like anxious and depressed from being at home too much.
If one of those words weren't already a word for it, you know.
Yeah, otherwise I've been okay. I recently watched Steven Universe. You can check out that Late to the Party that we posted Monday.
My hair finally got to the point where I needed to get a haircut for the upcoming, work year. I'm starting a new job soon, so I needed hair that didn't look like I've been living under a rock for half a year. I did that. It was very strange. I had my hair washed and cut while wearing a mask, and my mask got wet from like the washing, so the straps were just wet and covered in shampoo, and I had to run a couple errands after that. So like I had like this soggy, kind of sticky strap on my mask. I felt really stupid. Like, man, I wish I brought a separate mask. I didn't know. And then even when I was out, I keep meaning to get like a container for my contacts, because I need one, because I have like 4 of them, but they don't have the lids. And every time I like go out, which is not very often, I'm like, all right, Andy, you need to remember to get a contact case. Like, don't forget. And then I always forget, and it's not like I could just like, oh, let's go back to the store. So that's still on my list. And just other than that, I've been okay. I made a Paper Mario HD fan-made screenshot on our social media. You can check that out. That was really fun. I might do a series.
I heard you played a game as well.
I lived, Bryan.
You lived a game?
Life kind of sucks right now, so I decided to just be Tony Stark. But we're talking about Ironman VR on the PlayStation VR. I have a review ready. We're going to go ahead and we'll get into our thoughts on it in a second. Ironman VR asks the age-old question, can I be Iron Man? And it turns out the answer is a little trickier than you'd think. Ironman VR puts you in the shoes or armor of Tony Stark as the game briskly walks you through his origin story, giving you time to get used to controlling the suit as you fly around and shoot plasma or energy or whatever at various Stark-made targets. The game then jumps 5 years to throw you into classic Marvel shenanigans as Stark works with Pepper Potts and Nick Fury to put a stop to Ghost as she tries to take the billionaire playboy philanthropist down. The story is not very good. It is definitely something Marvel fans, or maybe comic fans in general, have already encountered. Yet another high-tech villain is using Tony Stark's tech against him as they believe he's undeserving of it. He has decided to turn hero too late, and the damage he has done as a weapons manufacturer is irredeemable. It's pretty predictable, but the one thing I do enjoy is the use of Ghost as the main villain. My experience with the comics recently has been pretty minimal, so seeing an enemy I had just met in Ant-Man and the Wasp in an Iron Man game gave me the same chills I get when I spot other hero references in the MCU solo movies. Speaking of the MCU, Iron Man VR, like Insomniac Spider-Man and Square Enix Avengers, takes place in its own universe. Yet, it leans heavily into the Robert Downey Jr. mannerisms of Iron Man. It's hard not to compare the two when one's trying so hard to be the other. It doesn't help that the line delivery is as bad as the script, and both are pretty bad. The gameplay is really addictive and fun when it works. Controlling Iron Man proved to be a little difficult in the demo, and then the game tutorial, and all throughout the rest of the game itself. The game is very limited to the PSVR tech, which is sad considering I had just experienced Half-Life Alyx on my Oculus Quest. The game requires you to hold the PlayStation Move controllers in your hands and make gestures like the ironclad hero. Since he hovers with his palms facing the ground, so must you. And if you want to shoot something, you have to shoot from your palm, as opposed to pointing the end of your controller at the target. But the PSVR just didn't want to detect my exact palm and wrist movements when I was going for complex maneuvers. This is more of an attack on the PSVR itself, as these controls on Oculus or Vive would have totally worked. When the controls did work, it felt so cool flying around cities and engaging in aerial combat with a variety of rogue drones. I'd say the coolest feeling I have when I'm playing the game is when I shoot enemies using my primary blaster from my palms, then flicking my hand down to shoot them with the missiles from the top of my wrist. It's moments like this that really make me feel like Iron Man. Let's get the visuals out of the way. They're pretty bad. The primary characters you interact with look like they were borrowed from The Sims, and if you decide to fly closer to the ground when in a city, you'll encounter very, very blurry textured surfaces. Even when I was trying my best to avoid these blemishes, I would still encounter unavoidable instances of bad visuals. This is something I'll let pass now, but I don't know if I'll be paying another $40 to $60 on a new VR game that looks that bad. I will say, however, that the UI and accent graphics you see when flying around is exactly what I imagined Tony Stark saw when he was in the suit, which was neat. Overall, I liked Iron Man VR. The graphics are bad, the story is bad, and the gameplay works for like 75% of the time, but the feeling of being inside the Iron Man suit and dealing with that 25% of gameplay that works trumps all my negative comments. This will most definitely be overshadowed by the next Iron Man VR game, done by the same developer, or maybe, hopefully, another. But for the time being, this is the definitive Iron Man game. So, to answer the previously asked question, I will say this. I am Iron Man? Iron Man VR gets a 73. Try it if you're already interested. There's my review. Thank you.
Let me ask.
This is a new review format. I wanted to just try this because I didn't want to, yeah, you know my thoughts now. We could talk about it instead of
There's quips.
This is new for me.
It sounded a little like a review I wrote for a restaurant one time. A little bit. I wrote a very detailed review about a restaurant that I didn't like once. But
okay, before we even get into the rest of Iron Man, what restaurant did you write a review for?
Bar Louie. Horrible experience. It was bad.
Okay. It must be pretty bad for you to write something similar to this for it.
But yeah, no, I'm excited that you liked this. It's interesting because I heard a lot of things you didn't like, but you still just the overall experience was redeeming enough for you.
The peaks were totally worth trudging through the valleys for this experience. Yeah. But it also helps that I'm a huge Marvel fan.
Are you a fan of Iron Man?
I'm a fan of Marvel in general. I wouldn't say I'm like an Iron Man fan, but I enjoy the Iron Man movies, and I enjoy seeing him in the Avengers and stuff. So, that was neat. I think I always kind of saw if I was an Avenger, who would I be? And Iron Man is usually the one that I kind of relate to the most. His only limit is his imagination, so he can just kind of come up with a suit or a gadget that does anything he'd want to do. I kind of forced myself to like it.
Yeah. I don't know too much about this game, but like, do you know how long it was from like being announced to like actually coming out?
I think it took a little bit over a year. This was
'Cause
revealed in like a PlayStation State of
okay.
Play or their version of Directs.
Because it doesn't sound substantial enough, like you were saying, to be worth like a $40-$60 price tag.
Yeah, I think this game was $40, but the crazy part is this is like a system seller. Like this was bundled with PlayStation VR in order to sell the platform. Like the quality of this game wasn't that of a system seller. It wasn't up to snuff or par or whatever. You know, this game was pretty ugly. There were parts that looked really nice, but for the most part, like this looked like there were parts of it that just looked like a Nintendo 64 game. And it's like it's limited to the PSVR. They're not able to output that quality, but I hope that VR becomes mainstream enough where we can get a game that's like this, but the controls actually work and the visuals don't make you want to vomit when you look closer.
Is PSVR different? I mean, I know you said like Oculus and what's the other one?
The HTC Vive.
So you said those two, like they handle better typically.
Yeah.
And PSVR, you're saying doesn't have as good of graphics either. I haven't used any of them, so I'm just curious.
PlayStation VR is the cheapest headset on the market right now, and the controls. So there's a PlayStation camera that's set up, and on the ends of your controllers, they're gyroscopes and like your Move controllers, and these things.
Yeah.
And then the light turns on, and then you're able to detect the movement because the camera detects the light on this. And I guess it's the quality of the camera. Or the technology inside it, but like it wasn't as accurate. Instead of like shooting like this to kill enemies, you have to do this, like shoot with your palm out. And so it has to detect these like really precise movements because if I want to shoot a pulse, I do this. But if I want to shoot a missile, I have to like
open your fingers, or is it just?
No, you don't have to open. You just need to make sure that like your palm is like, but you're having to do these like precise hand movements. And when you're flying around, you have to point this is basically kind of sideways when you're trying to hover in place. And when you're trying to move, you're like, have to do a Naruto thing. My hands would like lag out when I was trying to do stuff. And it was just really frustrating because it's like the controls are fine. It's just the platform it's on it doesn't offer that precision, so it's just a little So you don't have any experience with or VR?
Any sort of VR headset now. I not that I just don't have any desire. I feel like we're not at the point where there's a game coming out that I want to play. That's kind of the deal breaker for me. If there was like if you told me like I could play World of Warcraft with a VR headset, then I probably would have already had. You know what I mean? I don't even play the game anymore, but that's always been something that like has been a dream of mine. Like that'd be so amazing to like be able to play WoW or some sort of open world where you get to like walk around like in virtual reality. I think watching anime like I don't know if you've ever seen like Dot Hack or Log Horizon.
What's the one that they're all trapped in a video game? Sword Art Online.
They're all three of them are anime where they're trapped in a video game.
I've always heard about Sword Art Online, and I've never tried it. Maybe that'll be late to the party.
That's probably there's 3 anime that are trapped in a video game. Yeah. Well, there's more. There's more now.
The three trapped in a video game anime.
I would say there's 3 pillars of trapped in a video game anime, and that would be Sword Art Online, which is the like most normie one.
Okay. So that okay. I'll ask my question when you're done explaining.
Okay. There's Log Horizon, which is my favorite. I think it's a really like thoughtful. I think there's a lot of cute elements that are like nice touches and like actual there's actual video game stuff. And then there's Dot Hack, which is like this very like cerebral like it's very like dream feeling, like it's very strange, but they're all that sort of thing. And then there's other ones like I think Overlord is one that I watched recently. What was this guy? Lyoko.
Code Lyoko.
That's not one. That's not one. That's
They're willingly putting themselves in a game, right? Or
oh
they're
yeah, I
not
guess
even
that's
in
true.
a game, right? They're like in a
No,
cyberscape.
they go into like this like cyber world.
Wait, what about Digimon? Are they in a video game in Digimon? No, because they're in they're in another dimension, or like
they're just in the internet.
Okay.
That's like they're just in the internet because it's like or
that's a pillar we don't talk about. We don't talk about this. That's cyberspace. Oh, do you remember Cyber Chase?
Cyber Chase reboot.
Is there a Cyber Chase reboot?
No, reboot the show. It's another one of those types of things.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay.
Anyway, yeah, I just I feel like if there was some sort of experience that was like beefier, I guess, like, because like
I was on the same exact boat as you. I have like this compulsive need to collect games, so that's the only reason I have the PSVR, and then I recently got the Quest just as a graduation gift. Like, it wasn't my money that was being spent on it, so I was just like, by all means, buy me one of the, like, I'm not gonna buy one myself, but if you buy one for me, I have no objection. So I understand that. I totally understand that mentality. I think that the three biggest arguments I've seen for VR have been Super Hot, Beat Saber, and Half-Life Alyx. And those first two are more like short Wii Sports arcade type experiences that aren't like, it's fun, but
like there's no reason to be fully immersed in the world of Beat Saber, really. It's just kind of like a gimmick.
It's like a party game. It's like Guitar Hero. Like, I'm not gonna buy an Xbox just for Guitar Hero, but I'll play Guitar Hero a lot. It's nice. It's really it's nice to have. And
I wish I liked Half-Life because I'm like the worst. I have a very specific niche of video games that I like. It's like most Nintendo things, and then like fantasy games, fantasy genre. Also Overwatch, which is like a really strange one for me, but I really enjoy. But Half-Life, like stuff like that, single player games where I'm like sci-fi kind of stories, I guess I would say. I don't really know much about Half-Life.
It's very dystopian, which definitely doesn't vibe well with like your MO of like upbeat fantasy.
I don't listen to like sad music because I don't like being sad.
That's why I don't like Fallout.
Fallout's another one.
Like Fallout just makes me sad.
I love Skyrim. I love it. The second you make it about like dystopia or like nuclear waste or whatever, it loses any appeal to me.
This gets sad. There was a city here, now it's gone. Like, everybody's dead. You either walk around in silence, or you hear like really sad orchestral music, or you hear like retro radio stuff, and it's like, they used to all be so upbeat before the apocalypse happened. Now everybody has 3 arms and they're really mad.
One thing I'm going to try and do this year is to try and be a little more open-minded with video games. I'm going to try and experience some that maybe I wouldn't necessarily choose for myself if they're highly rated or well received.
Sure.
But I don't know. So you'd say you really enjoyed this, huh?
I really enjoyed it. It was great. It was a nice time waster. Again, like I kind of jump back to like if you are already interested in this, you should give it a try. But I don't think
I'd like it.
This game isn't going to change this game isn't going to convince you to buy it. And I wouldn't recommend this game to anybody except people who are already like, oh, should I get it? They're already interested in the subject matter in the game itself. And if you're not part of that demographic, you're going to play this game and you're going to be like, man, this game is dog shit. What am I playing?
It'd be cool to have like I don't know, like even a Mario game and like VR would be pretty interesting. Like I've seen those examples of people like they'll take like a 2D Mario world and they'll turn it, to show like the way Mario's facing, and it's pretty interesting. Like I feel like seeing like an Odyssey in VR or something would be interesting.
I think it's going to be forever until Nintendo creates the trends. They never really hop on board.
No.
So like the fact that VR is popular in any respect means Nintendo will like never fully invest in it because it's like, oh,
Hmm.
they didn't make it. So yeah,
Maybe we'll see uh, like a globe that you like enter. That's like a whole sphere of VR from Nintendo. You have to have a whole dedicated room to your house that's just a
Nintendo
sphere
just
room.
in in their passion to avoid trends, they inadvertently create escape rooms. It's like, oh, we'll bring the game to you. Like there are people with scripts, and then they'll like walk you through a puzzle, and then you'll have to do puzzles, and then it'll take you to the next area, and you'll have to find. They adopt like a really conservative rhetoric where it's like kids these days are already on all their computers, and nobody plays board games anymore. Do kids even know what paper is?
When you said that, I thought it was going to go a different way. I thought it was going to be like they partner with the NRA and give every like
Every get New Super Mario Bros. It comes with a
It's
gun.
like a new version of Duck Hunt, but there's a real gun.
It's a real duck, but it doesn't come with a gun. If you have the gun, it's way easier. Debatedly less scarring. All right, well, I think that kind of wraps our thoughts up on Iron Man and I guess VR in general.
I guess
Um,
so.
before we say goodbye to our dear listeners, which pillar of stuck in a video game anime did you suggest for me?
I think you will like Sword Art Online the most.
Oh, but you said that's a normie one.
I know. I don't.
Are you
I feel a
calling me a
little
normie?
bad. Yeah. If you were a gym leader, you'd be a normal type gym leader.
This is a previous argument that we had behind the scenes.
But I don't know. I could see you with like a Meowth and like a Wigglytuff.
I'd be like a sidekick type gym leader. All right, I'll have you know. Sidekick or
no.
Ghost? I think
I think that you would enjoy Sword Art the most. It's
fine.
It's I don't know how to say it. Like it's not quite my cup of tea, but knowing like I'm factoring in like you and I like having watched the same, like having consumed the same media and how we both like react to it. I think that one is the one that you would enjoy the most. I've seen all three. Apparently Sword Art is, I guess I'm not current on it, but I watched the first like arc of it, I guess. But I think that's the one. There's like some like romance elements that are not really present in the other ones, and there's more like it's less funny than the other ones, which I also think maybe you'd enjoy. I tend to like more of the like I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I'm feeling. I just know, knowing you and I, you will like Sword Art Online more than Log Horizon or Dot Hack is like this whole other thing. If you watch Log Horizon though, they are coming out with another season, which I'm really excited about in September. Maybe it's gonna be pushed back because that was announced before The World Is on Fire. But
it's animated, so maybe they're able to work remotely.
Maybe that would be great. I really hope so. But yeah, watch Sword Art and watch Log Horizon. Let me know what you think and if I was right.
Okay, I'll watch both series and then I'll get back to you and I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll read another review for you. I'll read two of them and then a third comparing the last two.
Next episode I'll read you out my my review to that restaurant.
Honestly, like I'm sure that's a joke, but boy oh boy would I love that. All right, well, thank you very much for listening. This has been Desk Pop. Please consider liking and subscribing if you've enjoyed this.
Please.
If you have any recommendations for us, we're always we're around. We're always watching you at Desk Popcast.
If you think Andy would like Sword Art Online more than Log Horizon, comment down in the comments.
Even if you haven't seen them and you're just going off of the names, it just, Anyways, thanks for listening. We'll catch you. We're gonna catch you later.
Goodbye.
It's only a matter of time. What?
Yeah.
Your video
You
is
can't see it?
disabled. Oh. Ha! Is this an April trick?
My video is not disabled.
Am I unpunked? Is this punked?
Can you
Is
not
this
see my footage for real?
I can't see your footage. It says that your video is
It's not.
oh, it just turned off and then back.
You can see it now?
No. Oh, okay. I see it. I see it now. I don't know how for some reason I had blocked your video. I don't know how you could do that. I just didn't feel like looking at you, so I just turned it off.